My name's Daniel Kwan. Welcome back to another electric skateboard review and range test. Today we're trying out the Ownboard Bamboo AT with cloud wheels. I think they also call it the Ownboard Bamboo GT. The weather today is 12 degrees Celsius. My weight with everything that I'm carrying is 75 kilograms. Let's get to it. By the way, I also want to mention that I'm like super padded up today. I'm wearing the Lazy Rolling Armored Hoodie 2019 edition. And inside, I'm also wearing the Nobleman Tech shirt thing. So my elbows are actually like double padded. The Nobleman Tech shirt also protects the upper arm. It doesn't protect the shoulders for some reason, but the upper arms are protected. And on the Lazy Rolling hoodie, the shoulders are mostly protected. Although I think this jacket is a little bit big for me. Both the Nobleman Tech shirt and the Lazy Rolling hoodie, they have back protection, but I took them out because I'm going to be wearing a backpack. Oh yeah, one more thing I want to mention. I'm measuring the range for this range test using the TicWatch 4G LTE and also the Ride app. So two different sources. Ownboard Bamboo AT with cloud wheels, also known as the Ownboard Bamboo GT. Really good board. Overall, I like it. I really like it actually. But there's just one thing that really frustrates me about this board. Let's talk about every part of this board now, starting with the deck. As you may have guessed from the name, this board uses a bamboo deck. It is a flexi deck, but it's not like super flexi. The amount of flex is pretty similar to the Backfire Ranger, which means it's flexi, but it's not like, you're not gonna like bounce around a lot on it. Some people were concerned about clearance issues. For the most part, I think it's totally fine. There were times where the bottom did scrape the ground, but that's like over like certain edges. But otherwise, I didn't have a problem with clearance. In any case, you can always top down the board if you want. I don't think it's necessary. I think there's enough ground clearance, even with these wheels. When I rode this board with the AT wheels, it did feel like there was more shock absorption compared to the carbon AT with AT wheels. So yeah, I like the deck. It's comfortable. The motors are 6368, 170 kV, 1500 watts each. Because it's belt drive, you can change the wheels. This board comes in two flavors. One is the AT version and one's the GT version. So the AT version comes with these large all-terrain wheels that are 150 millimeters, but thinner than these cloud wheels. And the GT version uses these cloud wheels, which are 120 millimeters. And each of them come with a different set of pulleys. The pulleys are also kind of proprietary, or at least they're very not common. The pulleys for the AT wheels, they only fit wheels with those spokes. I don't think that's a very common design. And the pulleys for these cloud wheels, they don't fit other wheels that I'm aware of. Like at first I thought that ABEC style wheels would fit, but they actually don't. These cloud wheels, they fit on ABEC pulleys, but ABEC wheels don't fit on these pulleys. The shapes are different. Trust me, just get the cloud wheels. Forget the AT wheels. I tried this board at first with the AT wheels. I've also tried the carbon AT with the AT wheels. Man, this board is so different with the cloud wheels. I'm not saying that the cloud wheels are great or anything. I'll talk more about that later, but just by using smaller wheels, the behavior of the board is so different. It's so much more controllable. Like I can actually carve on this board now. With the AT wheels, I can sort of carve, but the way it behaved just, I don't know, it just wasn't that good. But with the cloud wheels, it's just so much better. I feel like I can control the board way better with these smaller wheels. And these wheels, they're big enough to go over a lot of stuff. Take a look at the footage. Like if you're thinking that you should get all-terrain wheels because the bigger the wheels, the more stuff you can go over, just be aware that the behavior of the board, the performance, the rideability, the enjoyment of the board, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, basically my enjoyment of this board is far less with the all-terrain wheels compared with these wheels. I think in most cases, you don't need the 150 millimeter wheels. In most cases, I think these 120 millimeter wheels are good enough. Now, about these cloud wheels specifically, some people ask me like, how's the grip? How's the hardness? How does it feel compared to other wheels? It's hard for me to answer that because I've only ridden this board with the AT wheels and also these wheels. Like I can't really compare these wheels with the 90 millimeter ABEC clones because I haven't tried those wheels on this board. The trucks. Double kingpin trucks. I've said in other videos that I don't like double kingpin trucks. I take that back. All right, I'm sorry I said that, but I was wrong. I actually really like double kingpin trucks now. Now that I've experienced smaller wheels on double kingpin trucks, I really like them. My problem with double kingpin trucks before was that the way it turned or the way it carved felt a bit like unpredictable to me. But once I put on the smaller wheels, it's totally fine. Like magically, the problems went away with smaller wheels. So I guess the issue was the larger wheels. But I also have another theory. I think with larger wheels, it would be okay, but the trucks would need to be even wider. But I don't know, that's just my theory. But anyway, yeah, double kingpin trucks, pretty awesome, but not for high speeds though. For high speeds, I would definitely still prefer reverse kingpin, but for low and medium speed carving, it's fantastic. This board uses the Hobbywing ESC and it uses the like the standard Hobbywing remote. It's a very basic remote. It's not a bad remote. It's just very basic. There's no display or anything. There's just this battery indicator for the board with 4 lights. Because it's using the Hobbywing ESC, the controls are very intuitive. The acceleration is predictable. The brakes are, for the most part, predictable. I'll get more to that. Compared to other ESCs, it's pretty good. I would prefer a remote with a display that tells you how fast you're going and how far you've gone, and also with battery indicators for both the board and also the remote. This board doesn't have that kind of remote, but whatever. I mean, the remote that it comes with, it's all right. It's just kind of a boring remote. The battery is 10S4P using Sanyo GA cells. It's 14 amp hours, and I think it's 504 watt hours, 36 times 14. Right? I didn't really experience any noticeable sag. There might have been, but the later portion of my ride was in the city where there was traffic, so I wasn't going as fast. If there is voltage sag, it's not noticeable to the point where you're gonna feel like, oh man, this board is so slow now, you know? Whew, I'm afraid to go faster. But let's see how fast I went. I feel like this board accelerates more quickly with these wheels than with the all-terrain wheels. And I gotta take off this hat. Oh, it's getting hot in here. The torque, I think, is really good. There was this slope that I went on. It's a really short slope, so it's not good for like a hill test, you know? But I think most of my other boards probably would not be able to go up that slope. Visually, it doesn't look that steep, but for an electric skateboard, I think it is considered steep. I didn't measure how steep it was. I don't know, maybe someone can look at the footage and give an estimate to how steep that was. But yeah, this board just went up that slope with no problem from a standstill at the bottom. I thought that was pretty cool. It felt a lot steeper than it looks. As for the top speed was 39.5. I hit 39.5. Nowadays, that's faster than I normally go. Ever since I fell off a board at 38 kilometers per hour, I've been kind of afraid to go above 35. But on this one, I don't know, I felt pretty good on it. So at this open road, there were like no other cars and the road looked pretty smooth. I tried to hit top speed. I didn't get there. I didn't hit top speed because even though the road looked smooth, it wasn't totally flat. So I kind of chickened out. And I'm too lazy to tighten the trucks. That probably would have helped. Every little bump just made the board go, ugh. Kind of scary. So at least we know that it goes above 39.5. According to Ownboard, with these smaller wheels, the top speed should also be higher than with the all-terrain wheels. I can only guess it's because of the gear ratio, but I don't really know how that works. So the acceleration is increased and the top speed is also increased. Is that normal? I don't know. You guys who know more about this stuff, maybe leave a comment and let me know. Brakes. This is the one area that frustrates me about this board. And it's not because the brakes are bad. The brakes are actually okay, but it's just that everything else about this board is so good. The acceleration's good, the deck is good, the trucks are good. I'm totally not encouraging this, but you gotta admit that riding like an asshole is kind of fun. Like riding aggressively, you know, like weaving through cars and old people and stuff. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that at all, but it's kind of fun. Right? Like it's so great that this board can accelerate really quick and maneuver really well. The one thing that's lacking is the strong brakes. The brakes just don't feel that strong, especially at lower speeds. Actually, at high speeds, the brakes are okay. It's just that at lower speeds, they're not that great. With these wheels, the brakes are better, like much better than with the larger 150mm wheels. But still, they still felt soft at lower speeds. Again, I want to emphasize that the brakes are not bad. It's just, sometimes you just want to ride like a dick and stop at the last moment and almost hit somebody. With this board, if you do that, you're gonna crash. And like even today, I had to run off the board. Otherwise I would have hit someone. And when you have to run off the board, you look kind of stupid. You look like you don't know how to ride the board. Again, I'm not encouraging you to ride like an asshole. You really shouldn't. If you do that, you're gonna get hurt or you're gonna hurt someone and you're gonna get e-skating banned in your city. So don't do that. But you gotta admit, it's kind of fun. Just don't do that too much. Portability. I measured the weight of this board with the cloud wheels. It weighs 11 kilograms. I didn't measure this board with the all-terrain wheels, but I think it's about the same. I'm not really sure, but it's heavy either way. That's something to take into consideration if you're gonna have to carry the board up and down stairs. I imagine for someone living in the suburbs, like if you're living in a house in the suburbs and like you have a garage and stuff, I guess then the portability doesn't really matter too much for you. But for me, I have to carry this board up and down stairs. And also in the city, I frequently have to, I don't exactly have to pick up the board, but I do often have to like move from the road to the sidewalk when I see a cop. See a traffic cop up ahead again. Portability matters for someone in my situation. But anyway, it's an all-terrain board. None of them are really portable. This board is about as portable as any other board this size. Water resistance. The foam that's used around this enclosure seems to be really thick. It's like thicker than all the foam that I've seen on other boards. So I think it probably keeps out water pretty well. Still, I would not regularly ride this board in the rain. I mean, if I get caught out in the rain, I'll ride in the rain. I wouldn't mind too much on this board. I doubt that water would get in, but who knows? You know, this is a flexi deck. With a flexi deck, there's always a slightly higher possibility of water getting in. There's so many screws on this enclosure. Like this enclosure, of course, it's designed to be flexi, but because of that, it also needs to have a bunch of screws. I don't want to ride in heavy rain and have to open up this enclosure to dry it out. It's just like, it's so many screws. There's a USB port on the side of the enclosure, which is nice, I guess, but it's kind of flimsy. It seems to open up all the time. As for everything else, it's probably about as water resistant as any other skateboard. I'm kind of against riding in the rain, mainly because it gets really slippery. Now, there's some people who say that with the right wheels, it wouldn't be as slippery, but it's still slippery. Like even with the all-terrain wheels, it's still gonna be slippery. The other thing is that riding in rain is just kind of a miserable experience. But anyway, as for the water resistance, I would rank this as less water resistant compared to the Ownboard Carbon AT. But just from a visual inspection, it looks more water resistant compared to a lot of other boards. But I would still recommend against riding in the rain. I really like the way this board looks in some areas, in most areas, like the overall board. I really like the way that it looks. But some of the details, it's just really cringy, you know? Like here, right here, where it says Made in China, designed by Ownboard. The message is fine. But dude, can you use a smaller font or something? Like why these giant letters? I mean, God, it just looks stupid. These like giant letters engraved here, it's just, I don't know, it's so ugly. And the worst is the front, Ownboard AT Bamboo series. Look at those dashes. What was it? They designed this in Microsoft Word or something? Like dash, dash, dash. Are you serious? And also this grip tape. They're trying to copy some other high-end boards with this hexagonal shape. But the thing is, it's different. You know, this doesn't look that good to me. I think if the lines were black, maybe that will look better, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm nitpicking. But that's a small detail. You can of course change the grip tape. And these letters, I'll probably color them in with a marker just to make them more subtle. But aside from that, overall, I think this board looks awesome. I think this board looks way better with the cloud wheels than with the all-terrain wheels also. From a distance, and even not from that far away, it looks like a pretty cool board. Oh, and of course, being close to the ground, that also makes it look really cool. There's actually still power left, but I'm tired. I'm tired, I'm cold, and also there were so many cops outside. There's like cops at every intersection. Anyway, according to my watch, I've gone 31.7 kilometers. Let's stop this. Now let's look at my phone. According to my phone, 33.7. I got about 33 kilometers on this board. And actually, I did not finish the range test. There was still one light left on the remote. Normally, I would measure the range until the last light is blinking, but there were a lot of cops on the streets today. I don't know why. And also today was really cold. Today was like 12 degrees Celsius and my fingers were all numb. I'm sorry, I just didn't feel like riding anymore, okay? But yeah, I could have gotten more range. Under different conditions, I would have more range, and under other conditions, I would have less range. It really depends. At the beginning of my ride, I was riding slower. In the middle part, I was riding faster, and at the end, I was riding slower. And also, for part of the ride, I was off-roading. I was riding on grass and stuff, so that uses up more battery also. So a lot of stuff can affect the range. Your weight can affect the range. Your weight has a huge impact on the range, actually. Today, I was 75 kilograms with the stuff that I was wearing. Overall, I really like this board. I feel like the acceleration is great, the maneuverability is great, it's close to the ground, it's a cool looking board, it's really fun to ride. Just the brakes need to be better. The brakes are okay, and okay brakes are fine. It's just that why would you have such a great board with okay brakes? You know, I feel like Ownboard keeps on doing this. Like the Ownboard W2, it's pretty good. Okay, it's ugly, but it's pretty good. And when it came out, it was the first dual belt drive board that uses a Hobbywing ESC. It's like so close to a boosted board, but the performance just wasn't there. The performance was okay, but I just feel like they could have made it like a boosted board, you know, in terms of the performance. And for this one, it just feels like, man, this is almost a really, really, really good board. If only they had made the brakes better. I would like a more advanced remote also, like with a display. And yeah, all I want is a display actually. But you know, the remote is fine. But the one thing that I would really like improved on this board is the brakes. And I hope they can improve that. They've already made a major improvement by supplying cloud wheels. The handling of this board is so much better with the cloud wheels. So that was a majorly good decision on their part. Right now, it's still pretty good. Right now, it's still really good. I still consider this one of my favorites right now. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. By the way, check out defective.com. It's spelled DFFECTIVE.com. Not defective, defective, okay? Defective, not defective, all right? Not defective, defective. Defective.com.